Hi, Peter. Hi, Jonathan.
Hi, Doug.
Um, I talk to a lot of fundamentalist conservative Christians, and I want to sort of relay some of the things I hear, and I'm curious to know how you would respond to them. And one of them is there's a LGBT agenda, a conspiracy to destroy Christian values. What would you say to that?
It's quite nonsense because the LGBT agenda is about dignity, respect, and equal rights. We don't want to take away anybody else's rights. We just want to have equal rights for ourselves. We don't want to be discriminated in law. We don't want to be targeted for hate crimes. We don't want to suffer discrimination in our home and community. So it's very simple.
So it's not like you're getting together in basements and conspiring to do harm.
I haven't got a basement.
Okay. Another question I get is that if we allow this type of behavior in a society, again, I'm talking from what I've heard from conservative Christians, that Yahweh or Jesus will lift his hand of protection against the nation of the United States, for example, and that causes harm to Christians. Because things like, I'm not joking here, things like hurricanes and tornadoes may be caused from this hand being lifted of protection. How do you respond to something like that?
Well, where is the evidence? That's a supposition. There's no evidence to back it up. And I think Americans ought to be more concerned about the president in the White House and others in state legislatures who are doing harm to communities. Pursuing policies that are to the detriment of the American people. If you want to protect against hurricanes or tsunamis or whatever, you need to have proper emergency services and backup to help people affected by those. We can't simply, I think, rather naively suggest this is God's hand. I mean, all throughout history, Christians have been claiming that this, that, and the other has been caused by God. I mean, there's not a shred of evidence.
I like that answer. Last thing. I actually agree with Jonathan exactly what he just said previously about the Bible is very clear. And I do understand what you said about, well, a lot of Christians don't agree and so forth, but I think those other Christians are wrong. I think those liberal Christians are dead wrong. Now, what do you think is a better way of going about this, to kind of promote more of a liberal Christianity, or just come out and say, you know what, the Bible's wrong?
I think the LGBT community wants to have allies. It wants to convert opponents into friends. We don't want to go out and fight unnecessary battles and alienate people. We want to bring them on side. So, for example, as a result of the discussion and negotiation, one of Britain's most prominent evangelical pastors, Steve Chalke, some years ago came out in favor of LGBT rights and in favor of same-sex marriage. He was punished by the rest of the evangelical community by virtual excommunication. I mean, he is a persona non grata, a very unjust, cruel, harsh response to his heartfelt, sincere belief that homophobia within the church was a problem, that LGBT people are entitled to equal rights, that is the Christian thing to do, to support equality, and that includes the right of people who love each other of the same gender to marry the person they love. I think having Steve Chalke on side is a great thing. I thank all those many Christians in Ireland and Australia who voted in the referendums for same-sex marriage, for the right of people who love each other to marry the person they love. And what is interesting is I find that increasingly a lot of Christians are saying, well, personally, I don't agree with homosexuality, but nor do I agree with discrimination. So although I personally think homosexuality is wrong and sinful, according to the Bible, although I wouldn't practice homosexuality myself or encourage anybody to do so. If a person is gay, in Christ's eyes, they are one of his children. They are part of the Christian family. They are entitled to equal rights. And that is a view that I'm finding among more and more Christians. They think that homosexuality may be a sin, but that homophobia is an even worse sin because it's targeting people with prejudice that has a knock-on effect, a detrimental knock-on effect in their lives.
I love your answers. I really appreciate you answering my questions. And Jonathan, we'll see you next week, hopefully.
All right. Take care.
Thanks, Doug.
Bye.